photography or what?
It's photography, yeah.
It is?
Yeah, and before, the positive is developed all the way. Like Polaroid tells you to develop it for 25 seconds before you peel the film apart.
The whole collection is based in the genetic manipulation of the food.
These are felt, no paint, no brush. This is a very traditional technique in our country. I use this very traditional technique into a very contemporary way.
Well, originally it was based on the idea of the Terracotta warriors, the Chinese Terracotta warriors. The concept is that they were buried for thousands of years and nobody saw them, and eventually the people realized that there was a whole army buried there.
Originally, ceramic art was developed not as art, but as a necessity. It was the only way to have a liquid and keep it, or drink it, or cook something. Hello everyone, today is a very big day for me. I'm so happy. It happened. I got a press pass. This is official. Last year we came over here, Los Angeles Convention Center for LAArtShow. It was Art Show 2024 and we published it on YouTube and it was popular video, and this year we submitted it and asked for the press passes, and LAArtShow decided that our YouTube channel Well Room is graduated now and can have a press pass. So right now I'm going to go upstairs and tell you all about the show and what's good and bad and ugly. Hopefully nothing is ugly, everything will be beautiful. So let's go. Imagine hamburger commercial, let's say McDonald's or Burger King, where you see all these items, they fly around and they come together to perfect burger. If you ever wondered how was it done, here we go, it's a perfect model. I'm just kidding. I have heard that Allstain's clothing brand bought out all Zinger machines available to put in the shop windows, so you can see hundreds of Zingers at every shop window at Allstain. But we're very lucky today because there is one they didn't use, and of course it's here presented as an art piece. Beautiful work. This is an amazing place. I'm actually surrounded by art objects that make me feel something, make me have very strong emotions. But this is very special place because the emotions I feel, I can actually express, and this art allows me to do that. Here we go. Here again. And another one. This is all portraits of tyrants, of people who took more power that was given to them and brought a lot of unhappiness to people. And here I'm surrounded by them, and I have an opportunity to express my regret for the fact that they were actually in power. Here we go. Here we go. We need less bad leaders and more good leaders who don't take over all the power. Tell us a little bit about your art?
Yeah, of course. The whole collection is based in the genetic manipulation of the food. So the bar represents the numbers of chromosomes for each species. For example, the human beings, which is that one. So
which one is that?
That's that one is the
46.
human beings.
Okay.
So have it 23 pair of chromosomes, which is 46 chromosomes for the man, for the woman. It can switch, but it's the same. And for the rest of the collection, it's the same. The number represents that.
So each represents one animal?
No,
or one...
that one represents the human being.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you put together all the numbers, it's at 46, 23 pairs, 46 chromosomes. Mm-hmm. Chromosomes is a part of the DNA. Okay, I don't know if you know. So, and if you manipulate the chromosomes, so you manipulate the DNA, the person, or in this case, the person can be, with problems. When a God created you, He created specific, and for a reason. So, if you manipulate, you treating, what you get God created. So, here the thing. So,
are you religious?
No, I'm not religious, but it's just common sense. You know what I mean? So the fruit, the vegetable, everything coming with exactly number of chromosomes. If you broken that chain, it can affect you when you eat. So it's really, really complicated because here are the things, everything survives. For example, that one is the bee.
Bee?
Yeah, bee. So if the bee disappears, we can die too.
So this is bee chromosome?
Yeah. So if the bee disappeared, you can die because, we need a pollination for the fruit and the flowers, you know what I mean? So that's we had to be, because there's a really deep line between, what we do and what God created already. So we can make it, some change. But even here the thing, if you manipulate some fruit, that's, for example, the apple. Okay, you say, what is the reason you manipulate? Is to be strong because it needed water. All the things around the apple, the bugs, the things, they don't eat it, the apple anymore.
But we do.
Yeah, but we do.
Because we aren't smart enough to see, we shouldn't.
No, but here's the problem. If you put the fruit to a box, the box doesn't eat it, you think it's good for you. It's not. You know what I mean?
Maybe not.
No, it is not. There is no way. How you think it's from 1940 to today? There is a lot of kids with more problems than now than the before.
How is it?
Because the food we eating,
Right.
the vaccine we have. It's simple. You know what I mean? There is no way you can survive in the time. Your parents may be living longer than what you're gonna live because they eat natural food. The other reason is we have the organic food is more expensive than the other food. Is because simple. You need organic food. As soon as you manipulate, it's not organic. As soon as you manipulate, you broken your chain, DNA chain can be really hard for you to survive in this world.
So this is in a way your political statement, right?
No, it's a protest for what we have because we had to be, we had to worry about these things. It's
So
very important. It's not about politics. It's, there's no left or right.
So
it's important for you like a human being. That's
So you're
it.
protesting against genetically modified products?
That's what a teacher had to do. They had to send the messages always. That's like a writer, so they say something. That's the way you have to say, something. Sometimes the media or whatever they don't want to say.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we are here for that. So it's
Basically,
important to be conscious about it.
This says stop genetic manipulations.
Yeah, as such I told you because I read it deep in this, and I talk with some doctors. So as soon as you remove or add to remove one numbers in the chromosomes, quantities, it's gonna be in trouble.
I was a child. My parents considered this white with blue ceramic something beautiful and amazing, and later I've learned that all they had was not really original. They were collectors, and the original one is in Holland, where it was traditionally developed. Then I got older, I've learned that no, the original one is actually in China. That's why we call this China, just like we call China China. But now it's 21st century and I don't even know. This is totally new level. Would I use it as a vase? Would I drink tea from this boot? Or is it just an art object? In any way, I think that this ceramic is definitely progressing, and it started in China 1,000 years ago, maybe longer. Originally, ceramic art was developed not as art, but as a necessity. That was the only way to have a liquid and keep it or drink it or cook something. But later on, it developed into art form, ceramics. And then later on, the painters decided to paint ceramics and make beautiful paintings out of this. But this is taking the whole process to the new level. This is a ceramic tile representing the ceramic cup that you're supposed to use on the wall as an art piece. And I believe this is beautiful. This is just breathtaking. And honestly, what would be the best medium to represent the ceramic ball is the ceramic tile, where the materials is the same as the actual ball. But the artist who is right here behind this wall, he is also dressed just like the ceramic ball and also represent his own art.
I'm an artist. We came here for the fair from Istanbul, Turkey.
That's a long way.
Yeah, long way, 14 hours.
I know, I've been there a couple years ago. It's a long flight.
Nice. But I like this fair, and my pieces is very unique, let's say, because people say like that. These are felt, no paint, no brush. This is a very traditional technique in our country. So I use this very, very traditional technique into a very contemporary way. This is called wet felting technique. I don't use any paint, any brush.
So you paint the felt before you use it, or
no?
You buy
I use colored wools, just wool, and this is the process of binding fibers together through applying wool, oil soap, warm water, and pressure.
And you do it by hand, or is it technique?
Yeah, by hand. So as a gallery, we are from Istanbul, you know. We have different artists, Turkish artists.
Oh, this is all Turkish?
Yeah.
How did you choose this material over others? Like, why is this your material of choice?
Actually, I've been painting. I've been using paint for years, but for 5 years, I decided to change my material, and I was looking for different material. As I said, this is a very traditional material.
How is it used traditionally? It's made to make clothes or to make blankets?
Actually, it comes from 6,000 BC, from Middle Asia, yes. People at those times, people used
6,000 BC.
Yes, really,
before
incredible.
Egyptian pyramids, right?
Yeah. People in Middle Asia let's say, people use this technique at those times for clothing, for heating, for making tent or something like that.
It was probably one of the first fabrics available to man,
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
Once
Yeah.
they domesticated the sheep, they start
Yeah.
making the fabric, right?
Uh-huh. You know, and this is a very unique technique, and I use this material into a modern way.
And it's permanently attached to the canvas, right?
Yeah,
It's
I use needle at the end for details. Actually, there's a short video here. If you scan here, and you can watch the video how I make this art. As I said, this is made by wool, warm water, oil soap, and pressure.
Wow.
A lot of work. It takes almost 1 month for
for piece like
piece,
that
yeah.
to do. Wow, that looks incredible. And what inspired you to generate this story? Is it like Istanbul for you?
Yeah,
It's like-
yeah, that's true. Because I live in Istanbul. You know, Istanbul is a very crowded city, and I love crowd.
Yeah, me too. I've been there. I love
Because
it.
I'm a city person. That's why I paint. I mean, I made those hustle and bustle in the city.
Yes.
People running from somewhere to another place, etc. You know, there's a movement in my painting, and this is another one. This is a portrait, but you know, the very city person. I'm a city person. And this is Istanbul, let's say. These are my people,
Right.
my neighbors in Istanbul, because I live in the center of the city, Istanbul. It's a very crowded one. So I use my environment.
Andy Warhol was one of the most influential artists of last century, and even now there is still his ideas reflected in his own image over here, and there are more of him on this exhibition, so let's go see. Is this your artwork?
Oh, it is indeed, yes.
Wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
What inspired you to do Warhol?
Well, all of my paintings are paintings about paintings. So his were, well, they were kind of paintings. They were more like prints, but they were still paintings in a sense. And so I've done a lot of work on classical paintings. I've done over here around the corner images of urban scenes, of car scenes. But I wanted to do a series on artists, so artists who were part of my growing up, and Andy Warhol was one. Andy Warhol, of course, was one of them. And so I have here, I did Andy with the soup cans. I did another one that sold with Andy with the Marilyns around it. And part of my signature artist thing is to leave this passepartout here around where this is the exposed linen. And
what does it signify for you?
well, that signifies that I'm doing paintings of paintings, which is kind of thievery, right? so in the old days, art thieves would take a razor and go
oh, you prep for them.
And then they would remount it, right? So this is the idea of remounting it because it's taking it out of context. And then I also have my stitch here.
Yes.
Which is about, Stitch has three things. It's about putting the art back together. Do you remember Lucio Fontana, who did cut his canvases? So I'm stitching it back together. Most of my canvases are stitched back together. Also because looms were at one point were not that wide, so they had to stitch them again. And another is that for me, the surface of the canvas is important because it's kind of a X, Y, and Z, so it becomes, in a certain sense, a sculpture of a painting. So your eye is going back and forth between the surface of the canvas and the content of the painting.
I've been subscriber to New Yorker magazine for many years. I love it, but most of the time I just buy the magazine and I put them in a stack. And look at this. My stack of New Yorkers glorify into painting. I'm so pleased. Where are you coming from?
I'm from Barcelona, but I'm living in Tokyo, in Japan.
Oh, how do you like Tokyo? I was there last year.
Yeah, for me it's a very good place, especially for an artist. You can get a lot of inspirations of the seasons and of the nature in Japan. So since I started to live there, more like nature elements start to appear in my work, and I feel it had a very big effect in my life and in consequence in my art.
And your art is affected by...
Yeah, because I use an intuitive method of painting, so I don't use any sketches, any previous ideas. All the process is automatic. It's like just music for me, so I never know who will appear on the canvas. It's a surprise even for myself.
And where are you located?
I'm Italian and I live in Spain.
Oh.
I live in Malaga, yeah.
Why? Is Spain more inspiring for you?
Well, I've been there in Spain for almost 20 years now. Yeah, it's very inspiring. It's very good weather, and I like Spanish style. I like Spanish lifestyle. So yeah, I've been there. It's very inspiring. I like it there.
The siesta and then going out at night.
Well, yeah, and many things.
That lifestyle we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us a little about your art. You have 16 paintings here.
Well, I used to work with different kind of people. This series, for instance, I've been working with a kid who was cancer ill, and I try to work with them, get their perspective, their fights. It's the series is called American Kings, and it represents the everyday heroes, those people who fight their life, like these kids I'm working with. So that's my inspiration and what I like to do.
Oh, so they help you to develop this?
Not really help me to develop. We paint together. They paint their painting or drawing, and I paint mine. But they inspire me in the sense that I'm looking what they're doing. We're talking, so it's very inspiring for me. And every day I learn something new from them. You know, something extraordinary.
How do you identify your art?
Well, I would say it's a kind of evolution of art brut. Yeah, someone calls it art brut. It's a mix of art brut and pop art and many styles. Really, I think it's quite personal.
Very good.
Are you an artist for this work?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
This series is called The Warriors.
What inspired you to do this?
Well, originally it was based on the idea of the Terracotta warriors, the Chinese Terracotta warriors. The concept is that they were buried for thousands of years and nobody saw them. And eventually the people realized that there was a whole army buried there. So in relation to the Latino workers, the first line responders, I thought that they were invisible for everybody until COVID hits, and then they realized who's gonna bring us who's gonna take up the piece from the stuff from the fields or bring us the packages and do all the essential needs while you work on the Zoom and at home, shelter. So they realized that this army, these warriors, were been there forever, and nobody really pay an homage or attention to their cause or to the situation. Well, what I'm saying is that they are creating, like they're talking about these guys are murderers or rapists or whatever, and they're the hardest worker people that you can ever imagine. I mean, I was in the field in the Oxnard where they do strawberry picking, and they work for 10 hours a day, bending down all day long and running to fill the little boxes. Nobody wanted to do that job. I mean, if they don't do it, we're not gonna eat, essentially. So they are very essential, like nothing beyond that. This is the basic of everything. They feed us. So I think it's very relevant to give them homage and talk about the relevance of their work.
and give us shelter, home, right? Building homes.
Yes.
And
Yeah. But you see in the kitchen of the restaurants, in the garment industry, the people that do the sewing, all the carpenters and the people that build the houses and install air conditioning.
Construction industry. I'm an architect. There is like, you don't even need to speak English to work in construction in California. You need to speak Spanish because that's what the people who build actually speak.
Yeah, and it's a travesty to think about them as not really hard worker people, because that's what they came here to do, you know. And the idea of immigration is like as old as people, really. You know, people have been immigrating since the beginning of the humankind, and now for some reason become like such a big illegal trade, and they just treat them like criminals instead of like given the value that they deserve.
And how do you develop your sculptures? How do you?
Well,
what's the process?
These are real people that I did 3D scan, so it's a very sophisticated, state-of-the-art scanner. You scan them. Like in this case, we scan it dry on the field, and then it's a handheld scanner that you attach to a laptop. And then after that, you create a 3D model. And the 3D model, you put all the metal beams that are going to be in the structure, and then you slice the model.
Is it made out of wood, out of plywood, or what material is
plywood.
this?
But then you slide them all, and each one of the slides you cut it with a laser on wood, on the plywood, and then put them all together and then stack them up.
Oh, wow!
And then nail every layer and glue them together.
So every sculpture here is a real person on the field.
Yes, these are real people, real heroes, real warriors.
So do you feel yourself as an artist, like, or you just copy people that actually exist and print them? How do you feel you express yourself within that process?
Well, the general concept of the warriors and like the way they've been done, they relate to, they're coming from Arizona, let's say, crossing, and then they resemble the landscape, which are the sediments on the rocks, the red rocks with the sediment, like they show the layers of time coming through. So that's what I represent here too as well. The culture, they're coming with the culture. And also there is an element of pixelation because of the layers here. So they give you a little motion, and so they're sculpture, but they have a digital element to it too. So it's this is my thing. So I definitely am an artist, and I did create this concept. In fact, we have a couple of these pieces in the mayor's office, Karen Bass, and those sculptures, they have an AR element. So you actually scan with a phone the image, and the actual person that is being portrayed here, it pop out in front of the sculpture and tell you the story. So we videotape her and put a layer of AR, augmented reality, in front of it. So she will tell you the story. So you have a full experience, not only the image, but the actual person with the story.
Like digital on the screen, or?
Well, in your phone.
On the phone?
Right.
Wow.
But in front of the sculpture, so it's like it's a layer on top.
Oh.
So you see the sculpture, but you see in front of it.
I take my phone, look at the sculpture, and she's next to it.
She's in front of it, yeah.
Wow.
So there's a lot of new technologies that are coming out, and if you're an artist, you can use them all. And I don't think you have to be very concerned about that. But I know there's overlapping, and people that work in photography, for example. I mean, you can do photos without having a camera with the AI. Just tell them what to figure it out. But when you have pieces with physicality, then it's a different story. For example, I have another series that is done with tapestries and barcodes. So I go to different countries that have indigenous population and record, videotape their stories, and then encode it in a code, and then integrate this code that is very it's called Aztec code. It's like a very particular code that kind of blend with the architecture of the piece and the traditional iconography. So you can scan it and listen to the stories, from the tapestry. And then they weave the actual tapestry. So it's their story, and they wove the piece. So there's an anthropological element there that wouldn't be possible if it's not real people involved. Weaving the thing in the traditional of the indigenous. So it's not just about the the concept, but it's about the physicality of the work. You know, that's the part that make it difficult to. So in this other side here, you know, this sign, this movie sign, it says it's the American Dream, you know, with Guillermo Ver, whatever, and the journey. But you can see yourself in it too. You know, it's like give it three-dimensionality to the whole story.
The mirror.
You will see yourself too, but. So actually, this is interesting because you ask. So this is the Andes, you know, in Chile, the Andes.
Yeah.
And so this is the idea of the memory, how you, I mean, I live here for 40 years. So when I go there, I get amazed by the Andes. But when the people like live there the entire life, you know, this is something they don't think much about it.
Pay
you know?
attention to,
It's like there, you know. But this is just like the frozen image of your memory, you know. It's like you got that, and then you come back, and it kind of hit you. But you don't say like you know where it's like a snow on television, snow. You know, I saw like this digital information is snowing into the mountain and
capturing. That's a good one. Yes.
It's capturing in the frozen into the mountain. When you see it, can I, you know, see you as well.
Right.
And these pieces are like what it's called Jacquard loom punch cards. This is the card that they feed into in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. They feed these cards into the loom and they start making the patterns. And this is the beginning of the industrialization. And so this here is the tapestry that is going to be printed, but this is a binary language. So this is the beginning of the computer language, and eventually it become the IBM cards, and then the digital.
I remember the cards,
right.
Yes.
But this is 17th century, so it's 200 years before that. You know, it's the very beginning.
Wow.
So it's very important, relevant moment. So that's more of the story. But this piece, the Andes, it was created by AI. So I told him I need different mountains of Chile in different configuration, this and that, whatever. And then they come out with different options, which is, they throw through all the millions of images of the Andes and come out with something.
But you are the one choosing it.
Right. And probably this exact shot doesn't exist, but like so many other shots of this particular piece in Los Andes exists. So it doesn't really matter because everybody will see it and it will be...
It could have existed.
Yes, exactly. But it's part of the mythology or something. It's like it's in your mind and it's something you believe in it, but it doesn't have to be like taken by a photo anymore.
It's AI supporting you to express yourself, basically.
Right, but this is a three-dimensional stuff, you know, because the technique here is that they're all layers, flat layers of color that you apply solidly, one on top of each other, like 20.
So what is the material? Is it like
it's MDF wood.
MDF wood.
And then paint on top, and then laser the image on top. So this one goes more with the theme of the immigrants that are going through, you know, the birds, the immigrant birds and stuff for migration. And then this is another one of those pieces as well. But this has to do with industrialization and the people that they were, in the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, the people start leaving their field where they work and go to the factories to work now in the industrial world. And now the current version is that the people come from the poor countries to work in the industrialized countries. So it's that same kind of migration, but in the process they have a borderline, and then people get freaked out about it because they cross it. But they're coming to look for a better life like they've done since the beginning of humanity.
My name is Zoe Wiseman, and I am local LA. I live in Topanga. I have been on a project with this work for over 20 years, this work specifically. It's Polaroid Type 8.5, which gives you a positive and a negative instantly.
So is it photography or what?
It's photography. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and before the positive is developed all the way, like Polaroid tells you to develop it for 25 seconds before you peel the film apart. Mm-hmm. I only do it for about 5 seconds, and then when I peel the film off the Polaroid, I hold it up to the sun, and then that's when you get these kind of glorious things that come down here over the border of the film, and you get this cool silvery sheen here, and dark areas like shadows kind of pop and get silver and are illuminated. So it's a fun technique. It's all analog. There's no Photoshop involved.
I was going to say, it's not a digital photography, it's actual thing.
Actual traditional photography. So these are all prints from negative.
So you travel a lot.
I do.
What inspires you to do this kind of work? Like,
I was a model for, I think, 20 years, roundabout, something like that. But I was always disappointed in the way they portrayed women. And
why is that?
Because they portray us as weak or submissive, or it's always about sexual fantasy or whatever. You can tell by the way the lens is showing what that photographer was really looking at. But I try to make women strong and empowered and otherworldly, to step out of that kind of stigma that has been pushed on us for time immemorial, right?
Absolutely, yes.
So women are strong, and I want to represent them that way.
I used to work as a makeup artist in the theater, and I worked with opera singers and so on. And I like women, and the main topic I discuss about the beauty, how we feel it, and how big pressure and force we have from social media about appearance. And
What kind of pressure?
I mean, how we should look like, you know. Last year I worked a lot with artificial intelligence to create some like beauties, sleeping beauties, and it's completely different how artificial intelligence sees women, and it mostly has our expectation about how to say beauty, how it should be. So it's not realistic women we are. And my portraits, they are like a mask, you know, that hide our emotion and something we don't show in social media. So it's like about a pretty woman with nice lips, with good proportions, which are made with Botox and all the rest things, but actually they are set on my portraits, you know. So that about how they would like to look like, and trying to reach, say, to be always young and beautiful. But the reality is that we are beautiful like we are, you know, so sad, with bad feelings and bad emotions also.
this was our first day at Los Angeles Art Show 2025. I hope you liked this video. If you liked, please like. If you have any comments at all, please leave them in the comment box below. And as always, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Warhol Room. Thank you for watching.